I thought I'd go ahead and tell you a really spooky story. And it's real. It really happened to me. So I turned the lights down here in the studio, and we just got a little moonlight coming in, and I got my flashlight here. Okay, so we're ready to go. So settle back and get ready for this scary story. Years ago, when I was little, it was Halloween. I'd been planning for weeks for the big night. I had worked out my costume to great detail, and I'd worked out the route I would take for trick-or-treating to maximize the number of houses I could visit in the time allotted and get the most candy I could. The day seemed to last forever, and I waited. The anticipation was terrible until finally it was afternoon, and then evening came on, and I put on my costume and waited and waited and waited until it was just dark enough to go trick-or-treating. There was one house in the neighborhood that all the kids dreaded. It was the house of Clarice the cat. Everybody hated Clarice the cat because she was a cat and had whiskers everywhere and those horrible green eyes that would stare right through you. Well, it just so happened that this house was on my route, and I figured I'd go ahead and trick-or-treat at Clarice the cat's house. As I made my rounds, I dreaded my decision, but I knew I had to see it through because I'd bragged to the other kids that I was going to trick-or-treat there, and I didn't dare not do it. So, house by house, I trick-or-treated until I came to her house, the house of Clarice the cat. I almost chickened out, but there were other kids around, and I knew they'd see me avoid the house, so I had no choice, and so I screwed up my courage and started up the walkway. Step by step, I approached the front porch, and then I took the first step, and the second step, and the third step, and I was standing on the porch, and trembling, I approached the front door of Clarice the cat's house, and with a trembling hand, I reached out and rang the doorbell. And I waited, and I could hear her moving inside. I could hear her step by step coming down the hall towards the door, and I was pretty scared. And then the doorknob started to turn slowly, and then the door began to swing open slowly. It creaked, and then there she was, Clarice the cat. Oh, she was horrible, with those green staring eyes, and she fixed those eyes on me, looking down at me, and said,
What do you want?
And I was so scared. I was trembling all over and shaking like a leaf, and my throat was so dry, and I couldn't speak. And she looked so horrible. And there I am looking up at her, and yeah. And then she said,
Well,
and I was so scared. I looked up at her, and I held up my bag of candy and managed to stammer, "Trick or treat, please." And then she regarded me for a moment and said,
oh, all right.
and then she reached behind her to the hall table and held out a bowl of candy. And all she had was candy corn! And it was an off-brand too, so it tasted even more terrible! I even scared myself that time. Well, I hope you enjoyed that frightening, terrifying story. So be sure to come back again for more Howl-O-Ween. I don't know how I'm going to get any sleep tonight. That was a scary story. Terrible scary.